and welcome to Study Abroad for Dummies by Dummies. I'm your host, Jean, and with me today is...
I'm Rachel.
I'm Anna.
And dialing in, we have Sophia.
Hello.
And today we're going to be discussing traveling, how to handle when things go wrong, and just some general advice for being abroad. So first we can talk about what it's like to travel solo to a different country, because I don't think any of us have done that before. We're all, a bunch of like young women traveling solo for the first time. So there's a lot of anxiety there. There could be a lot of anxiety for anyone who chooses to study abroad, because it's, like you're just leaving.
Yeah, it's definitely,
you're just leaving.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting but nerve-wracking, like when the time actually comes to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a flyer. The farthest that I had traveled was California, which of course we don't need to get into that story. That was the first time I ever traveled like alone without an adult around. So this was even bigger because now I'm going over the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, like now we're going 6 hours. It was 6 hours for us.
Was it a 6-hour flight for you, Anna?
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, because Rachel, Sophia, and I, we left from Philadelphia area. And what airport did you leave from?
I left from Miami Airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you had a very different flight than we did.
Yeah, and what sucks is like there's no direct flights from Miami to Dublin, so I had to go to London first.
Oh.
And then
Oh,
Dublin.
shit.
You had a layover.
Yeah.
How was the layover?
It wasn't bad, honestly, but my luggage never arrived in Dublin, so that was not good.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, wait. So you were like did you just not have like
Yeah,
your
like
luggage?
I talked to like the airport people and my luggage never left London. And I was like, thankfully my parents did come with me, so they helped me like deal with it, but it's like if I came by myself and like did not have luggage, like everything was in that suitcase. So it was so stressful. Like I didn't get my luggage until like 3 days later.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So
Awful.
what did you do? Did
Well,
you
I
just
had,
wearing
like-
the same clothes?
Yeah, I had to reuse clothes. I had to buy like toothbrush and everything. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, wow.
Very stressful.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, traveling can be it's just a very stressful environment. Especially like I feel like people leading up to it, you're very excited, and the night before you're like, oh my god, I have to go through customs, I have to go through security, I have to make sure that my bag is under 50 pounds. And
Yeah, that was a big struggle
yeah,
for us.
the bags, you don't think about it. You're studying abroad. For us, we're going to be over here for a little bit over 10 weeks, and we have to fit all of our clothes. And, if you have to bring contacts, you have to bring shoes, you have to bring like undergarments, you have to bring all that stuff. And it has to be like under 50 pounds.
Or
And-
else you have to pay like
it's like
$100.
$100 depending on the air. And at that point, it's like it's the same amount to check a separate bag. So then you have to think like, okay, I'm traveling alone internationally. Can I carry 2 bags with me, or do I want to just get the one under 50 pounds and like sacrifice some clothes and like,
Yeah, this was I think the first time in a very long time, like over 10 years, where I had like a checked bag. Most of the time I just did like 2 carry-ons.
Mhm.
So having to go through that process, like I'm not familiar with flying by any means. So when you're like, oh, we have to make sure that our suitcase is under 50 pounds, I was like, I'm sorry, we have to make sure it's what? Like I had no idea that was a thing. So I was like, oh god,
yeah.
I have to make sure this is under 50 pounds.
It's
Yeah.
I'm bringing like
definitely-
3 months worth of clothing.
It's definitely hard to not overpack, especially because you feel like you're being here for a long time, so you feel like you need to bring so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like my struggle when I was packing, because I was like, I'm living abroad. Like I'm not just here for like a little vacation. So whenever I was looking up stuff that's like what to pack when going abroad, it was like stuff for 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that is not what I'm doing.
Yeah, I had to, and I'm not like over exaggerating when I say this, unpack and repack 7 times in one night, just like weighing it and trying to see what I can take. Because there's some things that like you just like can't not take.
Yeah.
Like, I had to take out like all of my t-shirts. So now I have like only 2 sleeping t-shirts and like some tank tops that I wear both out and to sleep, just because I'm like, I have to balance it out. There's a lot of things that you have to just like decide, like, okay, last minute, what am I going to be like less mad at myself for taking out of this in an anxious like fit of unpacking.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like sitting in in like my room and I'm like trying to figure out clothes to wear out for the day, and I'm like, I should have brought that shirt.
Yeah.
I should have brought that shirt.
No, I've 100% been feeling that. I did not bring enough shirts.
Yeah. I'm like, none of my shirts are matching the occasion. All of my clothes at home, though, were either for the coldest weather you've ever seen,
yeah,
or the hottest weather you've ever seen, because there's no in between in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm either going to be sweaty or I'm going to look like a prostitute abroad, and I really don't want to do that.
And there's also just like the fear of not knowing what like generally people wear. I don't want to stand out in a lot of situations, so I tried to bring clothes that I thought were like appropriate for abroad, or I would sort of like blend in more. I don't usually blend in with my clothes. I like a lot of brighter colors. But I don't know, I just like in Philadelphia, it's like that's where I live, so I don't feel like I stand out there just because I'm so used to it. And the thought of being abroad, I was like, okay, I really want to make sure that I'm bringing clothes that are normal in Dublin. Like, I'm not going to bring my multicolored sweater here because I don't want to stand out that much.
Yeah. I did a lot of Googling during class when I definitely should have been paying attention. That was like, what do people wear in Dublin?
Yeah.
And nothing was helpful. It was all the same. It was just like, oh, bring like a raincoat.
Yeah.
Which I'm also going to say, I did not do.
Really?
I did not bring a raincoat. And I did not bring an umbrella.
Oh.
But I like the rain.
Okay.
So, you know,
any listeners at home, I would recommend bringing a raincoat.
Yeah, no, definitely bring a raincoat. That was definitely my B. I should have asked my mom for like my windbreaker when she came to visit me. But I also didn't really want to wear something that was like high school theater.
Yeah.
With my entire name.
Yeah, that's fair. So, moving on a little bit from just like the packing process, there's also like everything else. Packing is one part of it, but I think a little bit more stressful would be getting the documentation to go abroad, getting the passport figured out. If you don't have a passport, you have to get one, or if you already had one, you have to renew it. And that process can take up to 4 months, and you need to get your picture taken at, local stores that do that. You have to go out, get your picture taken professionally, and you have to fill out all the paperwork. And, if you're going abroad for more than, I believe it's 6 months, you have to figure out a visa for staying over here. And if not, you need to get in contact with your school. So you have paperwork that's like, they'll let you into the country for like an extended stay that's not like work. So like that process in itself can be intimidating and stressful. It's definitely doable.
Yeah.
And you're definitely going to have like resources to help you. If not the internet, then your school or the school that you're going to be studying abroad with. But if, that's something that you have to get out of the way as early as you can. Just because, it's the government and they can take a hot sec to get back to you.
Yeah. I don't know if you, Anna, have been abroad before.
I've definitely traveled abroad before, but I had to renew my passport because I haven't traveled like overseas in such a long time, because especially COVID and pandemic and everything. So thankfully I already had it like when I decided to study abroad, but getting all the paperwork was so stressful. Yeah. And I decided to like study abroad like right before the applications were due. Like it was a spontaneous decision for me. So I only had like a month or two to like really get everything together before I leave.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Yeah. I was mega stressed about this trip. Because like I said, I'm not a flyer. So this was my first time abroad, so I had to apply for a passport. And that process was a nightmare. So, don't try to apply for a passport like a month or two before you're going to leave. Because then you have to expedite it, which also is like $100 more. And even then, it might not make it in time. It was very close. I got it, I think, a week or two before we left. And it was actually early. It came early.
Oh my
God. It wasn't supposed to get there at that point. Yeah, I also had to travel home for my passport because all of the post offices in Philadelphia didn't have any appointments available until May 2nd. And it was like April 24th or something like that. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I can't wait until May 2nd.
Right.
Especially with the time that your passport got there. Like, you didn't have those weeks to wait.
No. So that was stressful. I mean, I have it, and now it won't expire until 2032.
Yeah.
So I'm good for 10 years, but that was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I spent way too much money trying to get a passport.
Yeah.
So I think the U.S. post offices need to fix that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an annoying process. I luckily got my passport for the first time when I was younger. And so, like, my dad is very on top of things like that. So as soon as mine was going to expire, February of 2020, actually, he took me to the post office and was like, you're not going to have, like, reapplying is so annoying. Just get it. Even if you're not going abroad, just get it so you have it for 10 years. So I did that whole process just so I would have one until, like, 2030. And then I can reapply then, which I'm thankful for now because I, have that documentation.
Yeah. And I didn't even know about the visa stuff until you told me, Jean.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until they told us in, like, the meeting a couple weeks before. They were like, yeah, make sure you have this printed out. Because customs is an intimidating process. Not because the people are going to be, like, mean and kick you out, but because, like, it's... You're entering a country that you might have never been before, and you have to present all your documentation. They're going to ask you some questions depending on, like, the person that you get and, like, what kind of mood they're in. It could be different as well, but I know it was like I handed them all the paperwork, and they were like, oh, like, when do you leave Ireland? And I was like, oh, like, July, and I said the date, and they gave it to me, like, a day after everyone's leaving, and then everyone was like, oh, yeah, my visa expires in, like, August. I was like, oh, I hope it's okay that mine expires the day after we're meant to leave here. Like, they really said, you're leaving, girl. You're not allowed in here, like, at all after this.
He stamped mine as the day we arrived.
Oh.
So, who knows?
Maybe
I'm not supposed to be here.
No, I think you're supposed to be here. I'm going to say legally, I think you're supposed to be here, so I don't get in trouble. But
hopefully.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was supposed to say that. I'm sorry. That was a joke.
No, we also have, like, just handing all that paperwork and waiting in line, especially because we arrived, it was 5 a.m.
Oh my God.
And because we got the overnight flight to help with some jet lag, because then you can sleep on the flight. Not that we really got to sleep on the flight, because there was an emergency in our flight. Nothing with the plane itself, but there was a passenger who had a code red, which means they, like, I think passed out or something.
Something happened.
Something happened in the middle of the Atlantic. The closest body of land was Greenland at that point. So it's like, if something happens to this person in the middle of the air, like, oh God, like, what, like,
yeah, you can't.
Luckily they were fine. It was okay, but it was like the middle of the night. All the cabin lights were off. Everyone was asleep, and then all of a sudden, someone's yelling, like, code red, and all the lights turn on, and there's people running around with, like, all this stuff for, like, heart monitors and things. I was like, why?
What?
So they did like they did like the is anyone a doctor?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, usually that just kind of seems like a movie or a TV show thing, but there was, like, 2 people that were, like, coming up and were like, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a cardiologist, which
there's, like, a cardiosurgeon, like, and a nurse.
I was like, how lucky is
that?
Yeah. That was like the only crazy thing that happened on the flight besides being able to watch Ella Enchanted.
Yeah, and my screen didn't work, so it was just, like, frozen on, like, us taking off. So I was like, oh damn, I hope we're getting there. And then it just, like, turned black, and I was like, okay, slay. I'm just gonna go to sleep, because I can go to sleep wherever I want. Yeah. And just for the flight, if you're going to, first of all, I would recommend doing an overnight flight, because then you can get there in the morning, and you're going to be tired when you land, and you're going to want to take a nap. You can take a nap maybe in the middle of the day for a little bit, but try to, like, stay awake as long as you can when you land, and then go to sleep at, like, a reasonable time that night, and that will help you a lot when it comes to the jet lag. because then like you're going to be so tired that you can go to bed at like 9 and then get all that sleep that you need. For us it was a little different because we didn't really get to sleep that much on the flight, and also the flight went a lot faster because like I don't know, something with the jet stream that day, like it went by quite fast. But definitely, like the overnight flights, I would recommend. Those are but like also for the flight, I would recommend bringing like the eye cover things as well because the screens were so bright.
Yeah, I was very thankful that your parents gave us that little care pack, because when I pulled that out, it has also been making like an extreme difference here just in terms of sleeping. I've used it a couple of times already just because the sun does not set until like 10 p.m. and that's when I want to go to bed, and it is still bright in my room.
Yeah, it messes up my sleep kind of. I still feel like it feels like it's like 5 o'clock when it's like 9, 10.
Yeah.
Like that's how bright it is out.
Yeah, we can get into that a little bit later, but yeah.
Sophia, do you want to tell us about any
lag?
experiences with jet lag, being on the flight, because you were on the same flight as us for that whole thing?
Yeah, I didn't sleep on the flight, and I napped when I got here, which was a bad idea because then I was like really cranky all afternoon. And I went to sleep at a reasonable time, but then I woke up at 3 a.m. for the first day and did not go back to sleep because the sun rises at like 4 a.m. here. So it was already kind of bright out at 3 in the morning. So I was like, I'll just stay up. It's fine. And then we had a whole day of stuff to do, which I don't recommend. That pattern of sleeping. It's definitely not the best. But yeah, I feel like the sun setting so late and rising so early, it's hard to adjust with the jet lag.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that until you brought it up, but yeah, like the sun sets here at around 10 p.m. Which like in the US during the at least like northern hemisphere, like where we live, it sets at like 8 at the latest for us, and then it rises at like 6 a.m. Like we it's dark for a while even in the summer compared to here where like it was 6 p.m. and I was sending pictures to people at home like it looks like 3 right now. Like what is happening?
Yeah, no, it is strange.
It's strange, yeah.
Definitely makes it really hard to adjust. I think I'm still having a little trouble adjusting.
And Sophia brought up like another point. I don't know, like, because people are going to be studying abroad with different programs, but with us, we're studying with FIE, that's where we're staying. And they had so many things planned for us for the first couple of days, which, like, was, like, we were tired and we were hungry. And, it, like, we were a little cranky the whole time, but at the same time, I understood why they were doing it. And it did help, I think, at least with some of the jet lag, because it's like, they were like, yeah, like, get up and join us for this one thing, and you had you had to if you didn't have like any legitimate excuses, so you were kind of forced to be like awake and present and doing things and exploring areas. And they tried to make it like fun, but they were like, it's sort of like they were just obviously doing it to keep us awake and on a good cycle. So if you don't have a program that does that, I know that people recommend when you land, like taking a walk, trying to stay up, doing little things to explore. You're gonna be cranky. You're gonna be like maybe a little thrown off. You might run into the first store you see and then they reject every form of payment that you have because you don't have any euros on you. That's not personal experience or anything.
I recommend getting the money like right away.
Yes, definitely.
If you have a different currency.
Yeah, definitely have like that currency on you. And also maybe do some research on your type of credit card and if it's accepted in certain areas, because I know like if you have primarily American Express, they will not take that in a ton of areas in Europe. Well, at least in Dublin, but I believe it's also Europe. But I know Visa is like quite widely accepted. But also just like be cautious of that, because that's something that I didn't really think about intensely until we went into the first store and they were like, no. And I was like, please, I really need shampoo. Please.
Yeah, it was quite embarrassing almost. Like it wasn't like a terrible experience, but it was just like a little awkward because I was like, oh yeah, like my credit card is all set. Like I got this handled. I had a whole conversation with them on the phone. I signed the document so I can use my card abroad. I told them how long I'm going to be there so they don't like flag my card and be like, hey, someone is using your card abroad.
Yeah.
And now you're not going to have any money. So I was like under the impression that when I got there, things would be fine. But they didn't activate my card for abroad stuff until 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's the 5-hour time difference. So until it was like 2 o'clock here, I could use my card. But because it was like 7 in the morning, meaning it was 2 a.m. at home, no one was awake.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Also, like get your phone plan set up.
Yes.
Get your phone plan so if something like that does happen, you can contact people. There's like there's a ton of different options. I know I didn't do the Irish SIM card, but I know that that's an option. Did anyone here do that or no?
No, I did not do a SIM card.
Okay.
I have like a plan.
Someone in our program did.
Yeah, someone in our program did do that. Yeah, I know. So I know it's definitely like an option, but you could also get like the international minutes, which is the plan that I did.
I also did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's like international day pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because and then also the fact that we're doing all this like alone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we have adults around, but they're also like, no, but you're like 19, 20, 21, 22.
They kind of left it all to us.
Yeah.
Like,
which like,
and it's like it's doable, you know. It's like it's not it's not a whole process that feels impossible. It can feel impossible at times, but you just sort of like, you know, it's you could definitely do it. It might also just be the fact that I feel like a child because COVID happened when I like was a senior in high school, and all of a sudden I'm like a sophomore in college, and it feels like I skipped a couple steps.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, you're an adult. And it's like, I don't feel like one. I haven't really had those formative experiences of being outside yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think definitely like it was very overwhelming, like getting everything done because we like just landed and you have to like get the euros, get, your phone plan figured out. So it's definitely like overwhelming, but it is doable.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel very mature and like, yeah I did that.
Yeah, no, nothing back at home is gonna seem scary.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I want to go back home. I'm gonna be a boss.
I'm gonna be able to go into 7-Eleven at night and be like, hey guys.
I'll be able to walk the streets of Philly by myself at 11 p.m.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
brave.
That's what this experience. That's what you should get out of the experience.
I'm giving really bad advice right now.
Yeah, no, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Have common sense, people.
Yeah, there's some like surprises coming to Dublin. Like just like a few things that were like a little bizarre. Like this is such a small, silly little thing, but their ground floor is 0.
Yeah.
And their second floor is 1.
Yeah.
So technically it's the first floor, but for us it's the second floor.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit bizarre.
If you're going to be walking upstairs, have that in mind, because we didn't have that in mind the first time we walked up these stairs.
Yeah, it goes like 0, then 1, then 2.
Yeah.
It definitely confused me too.
It's strange. Like, it's fine. And honestly, it does make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
America does things a little stupid. No offense, America. Actually, all offense, America. So, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But my head is still just like,
It makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, it's also just, for us, the other thing could make sense more, just because that's what we're experiencing all the time, you know? It's like, I don't know if, Sophia, you have any things that were like, of what moment that you want to discuss since you got here?
Yeah, definitely, like, I feel like a big thing I know I was expecting was on the streets, how they drive on the opposite side here, but what I was having trouble with is, like, the walk signals are so different than home. Like, they have the green light for the walking is super short, and then the yellow one is long, which feels weird, because I'm like, I don't know when to cross the streets, because I'm also still confused which way the cars are coming from.
It's definitely took a lot of adapting, getting used to like which way to look when you cross the road.
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to it. Being here like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at home it's you like left, then right, and then left. But here you gotta look right,
And
it's a little weird.
they have it written down in like
Oh, yeah.
more popular roads. They do have like look left or look right, and you know I feel like that is something that you can pick up on easily, especially if you're from an area that has a lot of one ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like Philadelphia has a ton of one way, so I just sort of look everywhere before going. But another thing is the crosswalks, because when I see yellow, I think like, oh, okay, I shouldn't go because I think if it's getting close to turning green, at least in Philadelphia, that means people are going to be like inching up, going, or not stopping for the red because they're like, oh, it'll turn green soon. We could just go through this. It's fine. So when I see like a yellow crosswalk, I'm like, oh, okay, I should like wait or I should run. I should like speed walk across this. And then it's yellow for longer than it's green, which is just something that like you just kind of have to adapt to and get used to. But it's
Definitely jarring at first.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, it is yellow. That means I gotta slow down.
Yeah.
Because it's about to be red, and then it'll be yellow for like a minute. And it's a little weird. Just a little. Any other like shocks you came? I mean, I have a bunch.
Yeah, I have a bunch. I feel like we should just go around and like give maybe a piece of advice to sort of wrap things up, because I feel like we discussed a lot of things. If I don't know who wants to go first. If Sophia, if you want to go first.
I would say the biggest thing I learned while here is that, like, if you're struggling with anything, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, because people are, like, willing to help.
Oh yeah, people
Yeah.
are really friendly here.
They
Yeah.
are.
It is definitely very different than America. If we were struggling in that store in Philly,
Well, you can't
no.
present like you're struggling if you're in certain areas. Do you have any advice, Rachel?
Come back to me. I need to think about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're indecisive about whether to go abroad or not, I say just do it.
Mhm.
Like, I came here by myself, not knowing anybody, and then I met all these, like, great people. We're all friends. And I like that it's, like, we're a small group, too.
Yeah.
We're all very friendly. We get to know each other better. So definitely do it.
I guess like just keep being aware of your surroundings.
Yes.
And being, because you know, one of the first things that they said to us when we got here was that like Dublin isn't the safest city, but compared to where we are living, it is definitely significantly safer. I feel a little bit more comfortable, but I'm still trying to be very cautious of my surroundings, and like, you know, I still am a female presenting person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, don't let just like the things that feel safe kind of
Yeah.
overshadow your views of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So like
Just because like in comparison doesn't
in comparison
mean it's, like,
doesn't mean it's still
Yeah.
great. Like
Yeah.
you know, there was just like that one guy that was like, oh, we love Americans here. I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
okay,
we yeah.
bye.
Yeah. If you're going out, like just don't, you know.
Make sure you're in a group.
Yeah,
just
always
just
stay
like
with
normal stuff
somebody.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eugene?
I don't know. I feel like we covered a lot of things. I would just say if you're I know this is already kind of said, but if you're thinking about going abroad and you're maybe intimidated by the process, like just like leap in if it's something that you're able to do, if it's something that is realistic for you. It's a really good opportunity. And another thing that we were told by Dublin Business School when we first got here for our orientation was like, don't feel upset or intimidated by all the moments that are like those what moments, like what is this, why is this different, I don't understand this, because that's why you're here and you should appreciate those moments. And I think that really shifted my perspective on the whole thing, because coming in here and having all those what moments, it really made me feel honestly a little bit insecure, like I didn't know what I was doing, like I looked like an idiot. But after hearing that, was like, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have those what moments and learn and, you know, have a different world view and a different perspective. It made me sort of appreciate those moments more. So I think going into things that you're, even just in general, going into things that you're not comfortable with, or if you're going outside of your comfort zone, you're doing that so you can experience new things. So don't feel intimidated or upset if you don't get it at first, because that's why you're doing it.
Yeah. It's a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that wraps it up for today. Thank you guys for listening. I was your host, Jean.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Anna.
I'm Sophia.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.